Welcome to another training video from XMPRO. Today we will be looking at circular gauge and how to use it in App Designer. So let's jump into it. Over here you can see I have already created a page in my app, and to use the circular gauge, all you need to do is basically find it in the toolbox. It's called circular gauge under basic, and you just drag it into the box where you want it to show. So without making any change, we can see what it looks like, and that's basically what it would look like as default. You can see it has a range on the outside circle, which is going from 0 to 100, and the needle is pointing to a value currently sitting at 55. Now, let's say we want to change a few things here, starting with, let's say, the title of the gauge. So what I can do is that I can click on my gauge, go to its properties, and in appearance I have a few options, starting with, of course, the title, which I can change and perhaps call it health score. Next, you will see I have options to change the font both of the title and the numbers on my range, and that is done over here. Similarly, I have options to change the tick interval. Maybe I want it to be just 1. That interval is basically what you see over here. From 0 to 10 there's a step of 10, and from 10 to 20 there's another step of 10. So you can define what size of these individual steps should be on your range. And then if we go to behavior, you will see it has a range, and we can specify where it should start and finish. So right now it is starting at 0 and finishing at 100. But we can change that. For example, I can change it to be from 0 to 10. And the last thing is the value itself. You can see it right now has a static value of 55. And I can change that, for example, to 8, just to demonstrate. Now if I save it and we just refresh this place, you will see that we now have a range of 0 to 10. The individual steps are of 1, and my current value is at 8. Of course, the title has also changed. Now, as a second step, let's say we want this gauge to read a dynamic value from our data source. As you can see, currently I specified a static value. If you want a dynamic value, you have to put it inside a control which allows a data source. For example, a data repeater, which you'll find over here, or a box, or similar other controls which have data source options. I have already created a data repeater here, and it has a data source which is currently pointing to furnace telemetry that I have configured in the background. Now, if I drag the circular gauge into this box and I go to its value option, and I say that I do not want a static value, but I want a dynamic one, by clicking there, you'll see I have all the columns that are being sent by my data source, and I can pick the one that I want. For example, health score. Now if I save it and refresh it on this side, you will see that the second gauge has appeared over here. It has a range of 0 to 100, but this time it's reading its value from the data source, which was 80. One last item to look at is how sub-values work. As you can see that we are currently displaying one value on our range, but you can display more than one values. And to do that, you click on your gauge, go to its value option, and you'll see there are sub-value options. I can add more values, for example 5. Now when I will save it, you will see there is another value appearing. So that is my sub-value. If you want to change the look and feel of this sub-value, you can go under appearance. There is a section for sub-values where you can choose what the sub-value indicator should be. Should it be a range bar? Should it be a needle? Or a few other options. You can also choose the color it should have. And there's an advanced option of indicator offset, which basically says how far away should this be from the actual range bar. So that's how you use a circular gauge. Thank you for joining me.